Well, welcome back to the show, boys and girls. It's going to be a good one. Today we'll be taking the this bezel here, this guy, and turning it into this guy to fit your night drive headlights. Do a little intro. We'll get into it. All right, this should be a quick and dirty little video. I'll show you the tools you're going to need to do this. Not too crazy, but not super simple either. A lot of fabricating, a lot of cutting, a lot of Bondo, a lot of plastic weld. If you're not comfortable with that, probably not the video for you. If you just like to watch DIY stuff, stick around. And if you want to tackle this yourself, by all means, proceed. So essentially what we'll be doing is cutting this guy in two places, and we're going to mend the bottom to the top, taking out about 3 inches in the middle here, and then using some trickery, some plastic welds, some plastic putty, and some patience, we'll have a nice finished bezel to go over your night drive lights. I'm gonna go ahead and shut up, and I'll show you the tools you're gonna need, and then we'll start doing some cutting. Here's my super official fabrication station here. Everything you're gonna need to do this project. Some sort of standing tool with sandpaper and or a Dremel with a sander attachment, a Dremel with a cutting wheel. You will need this for sure. Some texture coating. This will come in handy to hide all the boogers at the very end. Some Bondo, some plastic weld, at least 2 sticks of this at least. Now this thing is something I've had for a while, and I finally have an excuse to use it. That is a plastic welder, and I'll show you exactly how it works in a minute. This thing cost me $40 on Amazon, and it's a really fun toy. Some sort of marking tool and a drill for the very end to re-drill the holes, because you probably will plaster over them. All right, so we'll start marking up the stock bezel. I'll show you exactly where to mark it, and then we'll do some cuts. So I got some markings on there. I left in the middle there, it's exactly 3 inches. This is on the inside with the little hole cut out. So leave 3 inches right between there and there. And then you want to make the lines parallel. That way when you cut them and you sandwich them together, the plastic meets really well, if that makes sense. Also, make sure you don't cut the holes, 'cause that's a good reference point for putting this thing back together in the car, and it'll make your life a lot easier as well. On the other side, exact same thing, but this side in between here and here is 2¼ inches. You want to leave about a ½ inch on the bottom there, and then about 1 inch on top. And this side, about a 3/4 on top, and about 1 inch on the bottom there. That focuses right there. And then again, same thing, do these lines parallel, so when you sandwich them, they're pretty close together. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this, and I'll show you how I get these two pieces together. Got our bezel cut, first cut's done. As you can see, it matches pretty close here. Boom, boom. But you'll see it looks kind of goofy right over there, but it's okay. We'll remedy that in a second. Next thing we got to do though is we got to cut out this right there. Otherwise, the night drive lights, you won't be able to see them. So I'm going to show you exactly how I mark this and cut this. So right here on the inside, you're going to follow that straight up to a ½ inch from the top. You're going to give that a nice little factory kind of corner there, and then a ½ inch all the way down till it meets over there. The other side takes kind of a steady hand, but again, at the end, we'll be using some plastic putty Bondo, so don't stress it too much. Just get it pretty close. Like I said, straight up from right there, and then follow that for ½ inch all the way down, and then right there. At this point, your project should look something like this. And when you put it together, it looks kind of off in the corner there and over here, but that's okay. That's where the plastic weld is going to come in a little bit and save our butt. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to plastic weld this using this guy. This is where this thing really shines, and it's going to hold it in place for us while we use the plastic putty. So I'm going to show you exactly where I'm going to weld this guy and how it's going to look. Let's see if I can show you how this thing works exactly. It's pretty freaking cool. It comes with all these little bits right there you can put in this guy. It doesn't get hot, so you pull the trigger, so don't worry about that. And you just put the little, I don't know what you call the damn thing, it's staples. These two little holes right there. Just like that, and it's ready to go. You pull the trigger on this guy, it gets hot in about 4 seconds. So what I'm gonna do is weld the very first part. Hopefully it'll come across decent for you, and I'll show you exactly where I did it at. It's one of the times I wish I had a cameraman, you know. This thing's been working really well, so I gotta film it. Now it's giving me problems. Okay, right there. Boom. Hold it for about 5 or 6 seconds. And then take the little probes out, and that thing is in there good. Just like that. I'm gonna do one more right next to it. There we go. All right, once you get them in place, you can kind of take your time and keep putting them in there. It's got a little light too, so you know exactly when it's doing its thing. I'll do one more on this side and we'll be good. This little thing's a lot of fun to use. I know it's silly, but it is fun. And it comes with really cool little pliers too. When you're done, you can snip off all the little excess little staples. Just like that. That side's good. Probably put about 3 on the other side here. And next thing we got to do is clip these little guys off. And actually, the little posts or studs that are left at the end, they actually sand off pretty easily. So don't stress that too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all these little guys off, like so. I'll be back. Here's how we're looking. Pretty crude, I know. The next step, we're gonna start using some plastic weld over there, and we're gonna fill in make this a straight line all the way across, fill in all the big gaps. And then inside here, we got to build this out a little bit, make a little bit of a wall out of the plastic putty. It's got to look kind of ugly the first time you do it. Don't stress it, we'll clean it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to use the plastic weld. It's super simple, and we'll start molding. Plastic putty weld, whatever you want to call it here. This stuff's pretty easy to use. If you've never used it before, it's fairly simple. It comes in a little tube. It's chemically activated. Don't let it scare you. And pretty much you just chop off what you want, and you're gonna mix it together till it gets kind of warm, and then you're ready to use it. You got about 20 minutes of working time before it just totally hardens, but that should be more than enough time. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to, on the back side here, kind of fortify this with some plastic putty on both sides. Fill in these sides too with the plastic putty. And then it's okay if it looks ugly because we're gonna cover it all in Bondo at the end. So I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing this and throwing it on here where it's applicable, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. And again, you take how much you're gonna use, and you're just gonna knead it together for about 30 seconds or so. And you'll actually feel it getting hot. It's pretty cool. And when this stuff adheres or dries rather, it is very hard. It's a little, you can sand it, but this isn't more for a finished product. This is just more for bonding and getting plastic together. Here's how we're looking. So this is 2 tubes of that putty. This does take some patience and somewhat of a steady hand. Here's how we're looking. It's kind of crude, I know, but this stuff is amazing. As you can see, all the joints right here on the inside, all the putty on there. It's a lot like clay. It's really easy to work with. And here, I kind of carved this out to contour the light. It'll make sense when it's done. And like I said, when this stuff hardens, it's like a rock. It is very, very, very strong. A little malleable, but it's very strong. So what I'm gonna do is kind of show you exactly where I put all the putty, the plastic putty, inside there, and then over here. I'm gonna let this sit for a couple hours, let it harden, and then look to see where I might need to add some. Like right here, obviously, I'm kind of building this little ridge across here straight. This side's pretty good. I can work with Bondo. We'll get all that straightened out, and I'll show you exactly where all you got to add putty in here. On the outside, you don't really need any. The Bondo can take care of that, but like I said, this plastic putty kind of acts as like a framework, if you will, for the Bondo to go on. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this sit for a little bit, and we'll come back and we will add where we need to, and then we'll start Bondoing. It's been a few hours. This stuff's pretty much hardened now. As you can see how I got it formed there. Again, kind of crude, but that's okay. Next thing I'm gonna do is add a little bit more to this spot right here. Kind of bridge that gap. And then a little bit more right here to make that nice and straight. And then we'll be ready to start grinding off some excess, sanding, and doing the Bondo. The Bondo is when it gets kind of fun. It kind of comes together and looks pretty. All right, at this point, we are done with the putty. It should resemble something like this. It's okay if it's not exact. Use this as a guide. This is not exact science. If I was to do this all again, I'd probably just use plastic right there. I'd cut it and use my little plastic welder, but it's okay. I'm just trying to help you out here best I can. But yeah, this is how it should look at this moment. And again, it's kind of ugly. You just gotta trust the process, and by the end, it'll look really pretty. So the next step, once this hardens, make it kind of pretty, smooth it out a little bit, and then we'll coat a lot of it in Bondo, and that's when it'll really come together and look really nice. All right, we're all set for the next step. I'm simply just gonna take a sander and all the flat surface areas, I'm just gonna knock it down a little bit, get in there a little bit. I'll use some sandpaper by hand to get inside of there, kind of smooth it out a little bit. We're just gonna give it a quick bath with the sander, and then we will proceed with the Bondo. On to the Bondo, the fun part. And real quick, it's how it looks. I mean, it doesn't look great. You're just knocking out any large mountains or valleys, kind of flatten it out a little bit. If you never used Bondo before, it's super simple, but you have a very short working time. The more hardener you put in, the less working time you get. So this is probably about an ounce right there. I'm gonna add about that much. We're gonna mix that together till it's nice and dark gray. Depending on the type of Bondo, your hardener will be a different color, but just mix it together as best you can, and as soon as it's mixed, start putting it on your project. I really should have a bigger piece of cardboard to do this, but it's okay. It'll work. And you're gonna need quite a few applications, quite a few different little mixing jobs to do here. I'm gonna start adding it where I feel necessary, on the outsides, of course, in here a lot, over here, and I'll show you how it looks when I'm done. Here's our first pass with the Bondo. It's on there kind of thick, but don't worry, once we start sanding it, it'll look really pretty. We're probably gonna do one sanding over, Bondo, sand, Bondo, and sand, and it'll be ready for our texture paint. But it's getting there slowly. Our bezel is finally ready to be sanded for the first time. I'll be using just my hand inside of here, and then my sander deal on all the flat surfaces. Shouldn't take too long. Bondo is really cool because it dries really quick. This part goes pretty quick. So I'm gonna give this a quick bath with my sander, and I'll be right back. First, go over with some sandpaper, looking much better. So I'm gonna go ahead, all the little pitted areas, you can kind of see. I'm gonna go ahead and fill those in with some Bondo, and we'll go to town sanding again. We're almost there. Second round of Bondo here. After this next pass with the sander, it'll look really good. Almost the final product, almost ready for paint. It's looking a lot more attractive now. A little bit of pitting still I gotta fill in, and we'll be good to go. And remember, we're using a texture paint. Well, at least I am, and it covers up a lot of the boogers. It gives it a really nice texture. But we'll get it pretty damn close. I mean, this isn't a body panel. This isn't going to be gloss. It's going to look good from 5 feet away. You know what I mean? I'm going to get these little pits filled in, get those sanded, and we'll start painting. All right, we're ready for paint. She ain't the prettiest thing, but from 5 feet after some texture paint, she'll look damn good. So I'm going to do 3 coats of this guy and then 1 coat in the back just to be safe. Even though you'll never see it, you know, just that way it's uniform. Obviously, all the products I'm using will be in the description below. I got this for a project I did on my interior a couple years ago. It's just called Texture Coating, SEM, part number 39853, if you're curious. You can just use a regular paint if you want. But using this, it's like a rubber texture coating, so I don't need to use primer or anything. I recommend if you're gonna use a spray paint though, make sure you use a primer. And I did try using gloss first for the other one. I wasn't a huge fan. It showed all the imperfections. So a nice textured flat coats, I think, is the best way to go for this project. This stuff's very satisfying to use. Like I said, it'll hide all the little boogers too, which is awesome. Do the back side real quick. The back side's kind of ugly, but you know what? It's okay. You'll never see it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, let this dry, give you give it 2 more healthy coats, and then we're ready to put this guy on the car. All right, here's how we're looking. Pretty much final product. It's still drying. See if you can see the texture there up close. And it's kind of rubberized. It's pretty cool. Any little imperfections you're gonna have, it will hide it. I need a little drip right there, but that's okay. But man, I'm pretty happy with that. Next thing we got to do is drill the holes on the sides here. And the inside, you can still see where they went. You can punch through. Go ahead and re-drill that hole. So we'll go ahead and do that next. And then they'll be going on the car. All right, the last thing we got to do before we go to the car is drill out the little holes. And you can see them from the inside, but I made little marks on the outside. We're going to drill those out. I'm just using a little tapered bit, a little cobalt bit, nothing special. Don't make it too big. Obviously the screw head's got to be able to latch onto something. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill these holes out real quick. Over here at the car, it gets a little dynamic because the mount, because the screws that secure the bezel to the top of the headlight cover here are down inside there. So, which means you got to put the bezel on first, secure, but then you can't get the screws in there on both sides. So what you got to do, which I just realized this, is we're gonna make a couple little drill holes right there in the bezel. And we will put the bezel on first and then attach it to the car. I do have some kind of caps that I can kind of play with in a second, see if that works temporarily to go over top the bezel. It'll make sense. But what we got to do is essentially put the bezel on first and then secure it, and then put the headlight cover lid on and then secure that. So we're going to go back over to the bench and make some little holes we can get the screws into. And they should just need 2, correct, one on both sides. All right, so that's our little hole. Hopefully that'll solve our problem. And I found these little grommet deals. I've had these in my drawer. They're like little automotive, I don't know what you call them, like interior, there's a name for these damn things. I can't remember it. So I'll see if I can make this work, or just cut the tip off and glue it on the side at the end. And in the future, I'll get a more permanent solution. But for now, we'll go forward and conquer with what we got. All right, here's how we're looking. Looks pretty sharp for a hack job in the garage, you know what I mean? But I'm pretty happy with that. My little solution right there turned out pretty well. I got to get more of a permanent solution, but you know what? For now, it'll work on both sides. See right there. But I'm pretty happy with that. So, oh, the other side, the screws that screw the bezel on, I can't find since I did the night drive light. They're somewhere in my garage, or I got to go to Lowe's tomorrow and get some new ones. So for tonight, I just have one bezel on. That's okay. And I'll show you guys in 1 second how it looks going up and down, and with the halos on. And there you go. It looks a lot more complete, if you will. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan. That's pretty cool. And this will definitely tie me over until Damien gets the bezels out. Like I said, he's got some really cool ideas coming out, and I'm looking forward to that. But for now, this will work. Like I said, if you like the DIY, pretty cool little project. I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, that one looks totally naked now without anything on it. Looks so much better. And in my next video, I'll get some shots during the day too. That's pretty damn cool. Pretty happy with that. All right, and there you go. DIY bezel for your night drive headlights. Hopefully someone out there found value in that and is another DIYer want to tackle this. Any questions, feel free to ask me. And again, all the things I use will be in the description below. I think total cost for me, I had a lot of this shit already. I think it was like 40 bucks. Those little plastic well tubes, go to Lowe's, are the cheapest. It's like $6 there. If you go to auto parts store, it's like 10. What else? Another big thing is this little plastic welder deal. But honestly, if you don't have one, it's a good excuse to get one. They're pretty damn cool. So, and I know a lot of people ask me on my Facebook post when I posted a picture of this, will I be 3D printing them and or selling them? No, I'm not going to do that. If you want to take it upon yourself to make one and do that, that's on you, and be respectful. Let Damien know you plan on doing some adventure like that. But no, this is just a DIY deal and just something to do. Well, anyways, hope you guys liked it, and I'll catch you guys next week for some more fun DIY goodies for Corvettes. Until then, take care and mark out.